Hello and all, welcome to another episode of MMA Vision Analysis. Michael Chandler, Paddy Pimblett, UFC 314 co-main event, 5-round fight. I think it's going to be a close fight. Team Khabib doesn't seem to think that that's going to be the case. Matter of fact, they think Paddy Pimblett will end up being on top. We're going to talk about this fight. We're going to talk about the comments of Khabib's camp. Add our own comments. Before getting started, make sure to like, subscribe, click that notification to get all it is that is new from this channel, your channel, one and only MMA Vision Analysis. Team Khabib seems to think that Paddy Pimblett will have the upper hand, UFC 314, when he goes in there to face Michael Chandler. Excuse me. I think it's going to be Paddy's first true test. His first real taste of top of that division. We talked about Chandler and what a phenomenal athlete Chandler is so many times on this channel. I think everyone knows that we have tremendous respect for Chandler on this channel. And everybody else that fights obviously enters the octagon or any other sports arena, to be honest. Tremendous respect, especially for fighters. But Michael Chandler, I've said it so many times, is a top-tier athlete. And for Paddy Pimblett, he's going to represent the first true threat in the UFC. With all respect to all of Paddy Pimblett's previous opponents, I do understand that he's faced guys that have been at the top before, the likes of Tony Ferguson. But unfortunately for Ferguson, he did not face Paddy Pimblett in the right time. He faced him towards the end of his UFC career. And Tony did not look so good. I think we all remember that fight. That being said, I think against Chandler, Paddy would truly be tested. I think this fight is a very close fight. Not only is it a close fight, but this fight could perhaps help either Paddy or Michael Chandler at least be lined up against other top-ranked opponents, to where, especially if it's Paddy, it would probably propel you towards the top of that division, which would, a fight and a win against Michael Chandler for Paddy Pimblett. Make no mistake, that would represent his biggest career win, right? And it depends on how that would happen, right? We're talking hypothetical scenarios here. That would truly put him in the same conversation as, guys like, let's say a Benoit Saint-Denis next. You can make an argument for a Renato Moicano next. You can even make an argument for a Beneil Dariush. More noticeable names that are not on their way out of the game. With all respect to Bobby Green, with all respect to Tony Ferguson, but I just don't look at those guys as, let's say, I understand that Michael Chandler is probably ranked higher than some of the names that I just mentioned, but what I'm trying to say is that Michael Chandler represents to Paddy Pimblett. I believe that he's like the gateway towards, let's say, the path towards his title shot. Let's say he faces Renato Moicano next, and then after Renato Moicano, say he gets past Renato Moicano, he gets past Michael Chandler. You give him, Benoit Saint-Denis. You can make a case for, that time Justin Gaethje. Who knows? But the more well-renowned names Paddy Pimblett has on his list, I think the more it adds to his credibility, which to me at this point, with all respect to Paddy, but I think matchmakers have been playing to his favor. Chandler will be a real test, despite what Khabib's team thinks on this fight. And obviously they know the game in a way that I could probably never understand or comprehend. But I have my own way of viewing things, and it's from this bird's eye view from over here, where we all look at it collectively from far, far away, and we just kind of try to imagine how this fight will turn out. With all respect to the comments of Team Khabib, but I think the fight against Paddy Pimblett, that kind of represents, I think, to Michael Chandler, the last opportunity, let's say, because you lose to Paddy. Where do you go from there? There's some real, thinking to be had, and I think the fight against Paddy Pimblett represents just as much to Chandler as it represents to Paddy. Matter of fact, I think Michael Chandler is probably in need of this win more than Paddy Pimblett, which I think that in itself is going to incentivize the guy to perform top level, and I think he's going to pull off the I don't know if I can call it an upset. I understand the younger out of the two is Paddy, and he has the hype and stuff, but I think a lot of people just kind of forget how good Michael Chandler is and how close all of his fights are in the UFC. This is not to discredit Paddy Pimblett. This is not what I'm doing here. But all I'm doing is giving some respect to Michael Chandler, which I think this guy gets overlooked a lot. But for him, the night of UFC 314, when he goes in there against Paddy Pimblett, I really do believe it's going to represent the last chance for Michael Chandler to get his career back on track. UFC career, that is. If you made it this far, I appreciate you for sticking around. Please let me know what you think in the comments and subscribe for more.